Good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers first. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Om Bhur Tatsavitrvarenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat, Asto Ma Sadgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityorma Mritam Gamya. ओम सहनावतु सहनौभुनक्तु सवीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 Last week we looked into the life story of Maha Rishi Vashiht, and he is a son of a Manasaputra of Brahmaji. Okay. And I gave you the names of the Saptarshi, and some of you said that how come the other names are not there? Every kalpa has a different Saptarshi. And some names you will see it in every kalpa. Okay. And you're all familiar with the kalpa also. So in this, we have Rishi Mariichi, Atri, Angiras, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, and Vasishhtha. So Rishi Vashiht. And I was telling you that he has been a royal king for the solar dynasty and also the lunar dynasty. And we were at the story where he is the royal priest of King Dashratha. And when Rishi Vishwamitra, he came, he wanted to take Shri Ram for the protection of that yajna which he was doing. And King Dashrath refused to send Ram to the forest. At that time, Maharishi Vashiht intervened and said, O king, Vishwamitra is all-powerful, but he has come to you asking for your son's welfare. Send Shri Ram with him. And we all know that Shri Ram was just a teenager at that time, a young boy. Dashrath had great faith in Vasishhtha and also in his words. So he agreed to send Shri Ram to the forest with Vishwamitra. So it was Vasishtha's far-sighted advice which helped Shri Ram acquire powerful weapons from Vishwamitra. And as we know, later on, a number of terrible Rakshas were killed by Shri Ram. He also relieved Ahalya of her husband's curse. All these were possible only because of great Maharishi Vashiht. Later, Vishwamitra went to King Janak's palace along with Shri Ram and Lakshman. And Shri Ram broke the divine bow of Lord Shiva and married Sita, daughter of Janak. We are all very much familiar with this story. This again was a result of a stroke of diplomacy on the part of the royal priest Vasishtha, and made the two great royal families come together as a result of this marriage. Later, when King Dashrath decided to perform the coronation ceremony of Shri Ram, it was Maharishi Vashiht who was an authority in Atharvaved, took the lead and made all the arrangements for the coronation. He successfully completed all the preliminaries, such as fasting by Shri Ram and Sita, according to scriptural rituals. We know that every detail of the ceremony was meticulously planned by Vasishta. Everything went haywire as a result of a plot by that servant Mantra. And through Mantra, the queen Kakai and Ram was forced to go to the forest. When Shri Ram was about to leave for the forest, Rishi Vashiht saw Sita dressed in clothes made from fiber of plants. He was greatly pained. He asked her not to go to the forest in that dress, and he scolded Kakai for the havoc she had caused. With all that, he could not stop Sita and Lakshman from going to the forest, though. They had to suffer a lot in the forest, but the far-sighted and the one who could foresee future events kept his cool when he knew that everything was going to end well. Because Rishi Vashisht was a Trikaldarshi. He knew. With the departure of Shri Ram to the forest, Dashrath became broken-hearted, passed away. Vashisht asked Bharat to assume the role of king and rule over Ayodhya, till Shri Ram returned from the forest at the end of 14 years. But Bharat was broken-hearted as a result of his father's death, his beloved brother's exile. He refused to become king. Then Rishi Vashisht is the one who took Bharat to the forest, made him meet Shri Ram, and on his advice, Bharat agreed to rule over Ayodhya till he returned. This way, this royal priest succeeded in lessening Bharat's sorrow and making arrangements for efficient administration of the land. So he played such a great role in that hard time for Ayodhya. When Shri Ram killed Ravan and returned to Ayodhya, Rishi Vashisht successfully conducted the coronation of Shri Ram. So we see that sage Vashisht took great care and interest in the welfare of the royal family of Ayodhya and smooth running of the administration of the kingdom of Ayodhya. The kings of Ikshvaku clan could rule well and attain heaven only with the help of sage Vasishta. So his guidance, his blessings. Even the great royal scholar King Janak called sage Vasishta a great seer and dispenser of spiritual codes of conduct, and begged him to initiate him to Brahmgyan. This is certainly a clear pointer to sage Vashisht's greatness. Once, Rishi Vashisht was away from his ashram on some work. At that time, the 8 Vasus and their wives came to that ashram. 8 Vasus are semi-divine beings. Their names are Ap, Dhruv, Som, Dhav, Anil, Anal, Pratyash, and Prabhas. You might have heard some of these names. 8 Vasus. The wife of one of the Vasus saw the divine cow Nandini, and she liked her very much. She wanted to have her. When her husband said that the milk of that cow was equal to nectar, and the one who drank it becomes deathless, her desire to possess Nandini became unstoppable. She wanted to give the milk of this cow to her friend Jeetwati. She prevailed upon her husband to get the cow for her. Having no courage to say no, the poor Vasu took away Nandini to his place by force. See, just like earlier, Vishwamitra took that enough, wanted to take the cow. This time there were other Vasus also. They did not protest. Nandini did not try to protect herself as she had done earlier when Vishwamitra tried to take her away. And at that time, Vishwamitra's name was Kaushik, if you remember. He was a king. When Rishi Vashish returned to the ashram, he was shocked on not seeing the divine Nandini. That was almost like a mother to him. He searched for her everywhere in vain. At last, with his power, divine power, he came to know what had happened and where his beloved Nandini was. He was extremely angry. He cursed those Vasus. May all the 8 Vasus be born as human beings. Very soon the Vasus came to know about the sage's curse, and they repented for having taken away the sage's cow. They came to Rishi Vashisht with the Nandini, fell at his feet, and implored, "O great sage, please revoke the curse and pardon us." He was pleased and said, "When Dhav took away the sacred cow, you kept quiet. And that is equal to conniving in his act. It is a great sin. You may be semi-gods, but it is against all accepted norms of behavior expected of you. When once I pronounce a curse, it shall run its course. Except Dhav, the other 7 of you have to spend just 1 year in your mother's womb. But Dhav, who had stolen the cow, has to live on the earth for a long time. He will remain a bachelor and become a man of great wisdom and righteousness." Later, Dhav was born as Bhishma, the son of Emperor Shantanu. If you remember, there were 7 other babies were born, and they were taken back by Ganga. Vasishtha, mercy incarnate, taught Bhishma Vedas, Vedangs, all the Shastras. Bhishma became a great scholar and a righteous man. And later, at the end of Mahabharata war, he preached dharma to Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira is called a Dharmraj. The eldest of the Pandavas, Vashish's curse resulted in the welfare of the world. And when we studied Mahabharata, we saw all those teachings which were given to him. Sage Vasishtha was the royal priest not only to the kings of solar clan, but also to the kings of lunar clan, almost at the same time. King Samvaran, a descendant of Bharat, once lost everything in a battle. He was righteous, quite handsome. He was a man of conviction. He had great consistency in pursuing a purpose. He accepted Vasishtha as his royal priest. He acted according to the advice given by the sage and regained his lost kingdom. So it's not just one king or one student. Rishi Vasishtha helped countless people. Once King Samvaran went hunting. He met a beautiful young lady and he fell in love with her. She was Tapti, that was the name, daughter of the sun god. Tapti loved the handsome king also. So his love for her was so great that he wanted to marry Tapti immediately, and he suggested to her that they should get married then and there in the Gandharva way. See, there are so many different ways a marriage can happen according to the Sanatan Dharma, Gandharv way. Tapti said, I am a young woman. I am not free to take a decision on my own in this regard. I have to ask my father, the sun god. If he consents, I have no objection. We can marry right now only if my father agrees. Samvaran loved Tapti so much that he went on a fast and prayed to Surya Dev for 12 days. When Vasishta came to know about the object of his tap, he went upwards to get Tapti. He reached the palace of Surya Dev. As Vasishta was equal to him in radiance, Surya Dev welcomed him, made obeisance to him. Then Vasishta told him about Samvaran's love for Tapti. Surya Dev gladly agreed to the proposal and the marriage was celebrated under Vasishta's guidance. Later, Samvaran and Tapti were blessed with a son who later became famous as Kuru. And you all are familiar with the Kuru clan. So this was a story behind that. He was the founder of the Kuru line. And words such as Kurukshetra and Kaurav became common. Even now in Bharatvarsh in India, we have a town by the name of Kurukshetra, where that Mahabharata war happened, Kurukshetra. Once when Rishi Vashiht was in deep meditation, the entire group of Devtas came and stood before him and said, Brahman, we cannot withstand the troubles given to us by the Rakshas. We have been suffering badly and our beloved heaven has become terrible hell for us. Then the king of the Devatas stepped forward and said, O great Tapasvi, demon Vritarasura has been causing havoc in heaven. And we have taken a Yagya Diksha. We are weak and we are not in a position to fight our enemies. Because when you sit down to do a Yagya, you take a Diksha that no negative thoughts, no violent thoughts should enter your mind. So this is what Indra is saying. So in this kind of a state of mind, we cannot defeat them and you have to protect us. See, just like a Vishwamitra, he asked for Ram to protect when he was sitting down doing the yajna. It's not that Vishwamitra could not fight those Rakshas, but when you are sitting down doing that ritual, you take that. It's like a promise you make to yourself that you will not let any negativity enter into your mind. So Vasish's heart melted when he heard about Indra's plight. If the Devatas were not protected, the entire nature would be in danger of being destroyed and demons would become the rulers of the world. So that's when Rishi Vashisht joined the Devatas in their yajna and it continued. And the terrible demons, they did come over there. They were called Khalis with their strong forces to fight the Devatas. And there was a bloody battle between the two parties. But with the help of Rishi Vashisht, they could win that. So he was not only a Rishi, he was not only a scholar, but he was a great fighter also. The power of Vasishtha's tapa not only saved the Devatas, but also destroyed the demon forces and made heaven and earth safer places to live. Just to show their gratitude to the sage, the Devatas offered Nandini again to him, the divine cow of heaven, which could grant whatever its possessor wished for, as a gift to sage Vasishta. This way, Vasishtha's great strength of his tap came to be the savior of the world. Then at that time, peace prevailed in the world, and Vasishtha resumed the dual duties of a rishi, namely doing tap and protecting dharma in the world. And he also began to teach. More than 10,000 students were taught by him. Not only taught, fed by that ashram, and given shelter also. Vedangs, Shastras, and righteous conduct were the subjects dealt with in his Gurukula. It was on one of those days that the king of Videha, his name was Kurla Janak, came to the ashram and made obeisance to the sage and offered him arg, padya, and others. You all know that arg is like giving the water to wash the mouth. Padya is when we wash somebody's feet with the water. Padya. Then he asked, O great sage, may I beg you to let me know the greatest principal truth that one should learn. Please teach me the truth which is enunciated in the Vedas. So it's almost he wanted to know what is the gist of all the Vedas. When we study Vedas, what are we supposed to learn? Rishi Vashihtha said, O great king, I really appreciate your eagerness to know the truth. Real truth will be revealed only by the teachings of a teacher when one frees himself from all passions and worldly desires. So the teacher has to have these qualities. Because if teacher has the kamanaye, the desires, worldly desires, and the attachments, that is not a teacher. Let me repeat it again. Real truth will be revealed only by the teachings of a teacher when one frees himself from all passions and worldly desires. And passion also means the attachments. So if there's no dispassion in the teacher, there's no detachment in the teacher, the truth will not be revealed. One will not get it from books. So that means he says we need a live teacher, but a live teacher with the qualities. Not an arrogant teacher, not a teacher who will make it into a business. That kind of a teacher. So he's saying, he explained in detail the Brahma Tattva which a seeker should know. As a result of getting this Brahma Gyan, King Janak attained salvation. Because I told you last time there have been many King Janaks. So this Janak which we are talking about, he attained salvation while living and was able to have the darshan of God, the Almighty. So it's not only that you have to be a rishi or you have to go into the jungles. You can be a householder, you can be a king. But internally, if you are detached, you can have the darshan of God and you can become one with God. And there are many other stories also about Rishi Vashiht because he lived a long life. There was a demon. He killed his son. Shakti and other sons also. So Rishi Vashisht's all the sons were killed. And Rishi Vashisht got greatly disturbed. Wandering in the forest with the wife of his sons, Shakti. All of a sudden, he heard someone chanting Vedic mantras in a very faint voice. Rishi Vashisht was surprised. Then the wife of Shakti, and her name is Adrishyanti. She revealed to him that she had a son in her womb for the past 12 years. And he had been chanting the Vedas. When he heard this, he was happy that his family line was not broken. And he gave up the idea of dying. Otherwise, he was so disturbed, he wanted to just die. On the other hand, he began to take interest in life. And this was his grandson, Prashar. Prashar, the meaning of Prashar is one who rekindled hope and saved him from death. Prashar. The grandson became famous by the self-evident name. By this time, 12 years were over. And during this period, Vashisht was again wandering in the forest. That demon again was about to come. And this daughter-in-law, Adrishyanti, ran to Vashisht for help. Vashisht, who was mercy incarnate, took a little water from his holy water pot, which is called Kamandalu, sprinkled it on the demon while chanting a hymn. Because this was the demon who killed the other sons. The terrible-looking demon's body changed into the handsome human figure of King Sudas. The king fell at the sage's feet and begged for forgiveness. So actually it was a king, but with some curse, he was changed into a demon. King fell at the sage's feet, begged for forgiveness. He said, "Oh, great sage, I made mistakes because I was arrogant. Please save me." Prashar was born, the grandson, grew up in Vasishtha's ashram, learned all the Ved and Shastra from his grandfather. Since he never saw his own father, he used to call Rishi Vashisht a father. His mother felt sad, and one day she told him all that happened to his father. Prashar became very angry and he decided to kill that king Sudas. At that time, Rishi Vashisht calmed the young sage and said, "Son, revenge is bad. Your father could have given way to the king, but Shakti made a mistake, and as a result of it, we had to suffer great tragedy. Please do not repeat the mistake." Because revenge, what do we do when we have those thoughts or when we have an action of revenge? We are increasing the negativity. Inside us also, outside us also. So he says, please do not repeat the mistake. Do not waste the power of your tapa. Because he was a tapasvi. He had the power to take revenge. But that doesn't mean you have to take the revenge. Now, so Das has become a good king. Do not bring disaster to the land, because he has already mended his ways. He has become a good king. So Prashar listened to his grandfather patiently and realized that his words had great truth in them. He gave up the idea of revenge. With the blessings of sage Vasishta, the royal couple Sodas and Madhyanti, that was the wife's name, had a son by the name of Ashmak, and they were very happy. And as we know, Parashar became one of the greatest scholars, and his son is Vyasa. And Vyas is the one who became an all-knowing person. Not only he had the powers, yogic powers, he could bless others with those powers also. As during the war of Mahabharat, he blessed Sanjay. The power to see far, power to hear far. He is the one who helped Gandhari have those 101 children. He helped Kauravas also, Pandavas also. We can see that deathless sage Maha Rishi Vashiht. It is believed is still one of the Saptarshis and has been looking after the welfare of the world. Sometimes we think that good things are happening with no reason. These are the blessings of these Rishis. We don't have the divine eyes to see them, but they are here to help us. But we have to be that kind of a student also, so that we can receive this grace. He's trying to establish the rule of law on earth. So Rishi Vashiht. And there are definitely a lot more stories about his life. I just wanted to give a little some of the stories so that you can understand, especially when we study Yoga Vashishtha also, and we see his name all over. Any scripture we pick up, we see his name. So Brahma's Putra, the son, Rishi Vashishtha, one of the Saptarshis. So let's end it over here. Next week, I will tell you a little bit about Sage Narad also. Okay, because these are the names, but we should know some of the stories behind these names also. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om.
Good morning, Hersh.